"There's someone you need to meet." And at the time, I didn't know Jackie at all. I came from the classroom, didn't have a whole lot of background in gifted education, but was quickly going to learn more. And I got in touch with Jackie and discovered she was definitely a person I needed to spend some more time with. So throughout the years, I've learned a lot from Jackie, as I know other people have as well. I continue to call her up when I have questions, or shoot her an email when I'm wondering something that I need another opinion on. So she's been a great resource to me, and again, I know to other people as well. I'm pretty amazed at all that Jackie does. She's past president of the Wisconsin Association for Talented and Gifted. She's a certified SANG, supporting the emotional needs of gifted children, facilitator. She does a lot of instructional coaching. She's the Gifted and Talented Coordinator and Differentiation Specialist at South Milwaukee, so that in and of itself is her full-time job. All these other things are on top of it. In her free time, I know she enjoys spending time with her adorable granddaughter. She travels, she writes, she sings, very involved, very active in a lot of different things. So please join me in welcoming Jackie Drummond this evening.
Hi, I'm delighted to be here. It's always great to work with parents of gifted kids, and I want to know a little bit about you now that you've heard just about everything about me. How many of you have little ones under the age of 5? Okay, good. Keep them coming. No. How many of you have 6 to 10-year-olds? Okay, so the bulk of our audience is in 6 to 10. How many of you have 11 to 15-year-olds, that fun puberty age? Great. And anybody have over 15, high teenagers? Great. Anybody have 30-year-olds? Okay. I've been there. I've done that. My husband Dal is here with me tonight, and we have parented 3 gifted kids, and they are in their 30s now. Our baby turned 30 a couple weeks ago, so I'm suddenly feeling pretty old. But I just wanted to say that tonight you are in a safe place. You are in a place where it's okay to talk about your child being gifted. And some of you may have had an experience where you're just simply talking about your child, and you get the sense that people think you're bragging, or that, oh, she's just spouting off about her child, and I'm seeing some head nodding and some smiling, and occasionally I get a few tears, and that's okay. But this is a safe place, because we're all here because we care about gifted kids. Briefly to tell you my journey, it started when our son was 36. Was a little guy who loved school, couldn't wait for school, till he got to about 3rd, 4th grade. And all of a sudden we had difficulty getting him to go to school for lots of reasons. And it turned out he really was kind of bored. And he was keeping track of his reading in class in 4th grade. By the quarter, they were told to read when they finished their work. Does this sound familiar? He had 24,000 pages of reading in school when he was done with his work. And so being a mom and a teacher, I wasn't teaching in that district at that time, I thought something's not right here. And I talked to the principal and then eventually the superintendent. I was also a Cub Scout leader at the time. And I realized I didn't know about the girls because they can't be Cub Scouts. But I knew that we had a bunch of little boys who were kind of in the same boat in school, and we needed to do something about gifted kids. So that was the beginning of my journey in gifted ed. And now, 25, 35 years later, here I am talking to you about gifted ed. And so if there's anything that you want to know, I've probably experienced it either as a parent or as a teacher. So tonight is about you as much as it is about what I have prepared for you. So welcome, and let's get started. My contact information is on top. All of this will be put on the CISA 1 page website, and I'll give you that Google information at the end. So anything that you need and things that I make reference to will either be there, or there are some things on the WATG website, Wisconsin Association for Talented and Gifted. So you will be able to access everything. We didn't print things out because I know people now are going much more digitally. All right, my hopes tonight, folks, are to build a common language and understanding of some of the strategies and the programming options that you're going to hear about in your school systems. This is cutting edge. This is the way we are doing business now in schools for gifted ed. It's changed some over the years. So if any of you were in gifted and talented programs, you may find that things have changed. First of all, we don't usually say programs now, we say programming. There's a huge difference between a program, in or out, IQ 130, you're in, 129, you're not. We don't talk about that so much anymore. We talk about need, programming for need. So how is your child gifted, and what do we do about it? What is the need, and what do we do about it? I'd like to describe some things you could see in a classroom where a teacher is meeting the needs of gifted kids. I'd like to give you some tools for talking to your child's teacher. How many of you have had parent-teacher conferences already this fall? Okay. How many of you probably will have another one sometime this year? Okay, good. All right, lots of hands up. It was hard to time this, knowing when all the districts had their parent-teacher conferences. But remember, as a parent, you can make a conference anytime you need a conference. So what you hear tonight, you can transfer anytime that you need it. And then finally, I'm here to answer questions, offer encouragement, and share some resources. So kids in the audience, when we get to the end, we'll play some games, okay? All right, so hang in there. I haven't seen kids go, yes. All right, just want to tell you about your rights as a parent, and I've highlighted in color some of the important things about the law. This is standard T of the Wisconsin state law. And basically, in red, your district should have a coordinator, a designated person that coordinates your gifted and talented program. If you do not know who that person is, I suggest you ask. Call your district office and say, who is the coordinator of our program? Identification should occur in kindergarten through grade 12. And there are some school districts that say, oh, we'll wait till 3rd grade. The law says kindergarten, just so that you know. Also, the 5 areas of giftedness are intellectual. And by that I mean the kids who are kind of just all around smart. They catch on quickly. They anticipate. They're intuitive. Those kind of kids. Academics, those are the kids that are good at school. By the way, intellectual kids may or may not do good at school. They may decide school's not for them. Academic kids like to do well in school. So, and sometimes there's crossover. I'm not saying that they're mutually exclusive. Sometimes there's crossover. Creativity is the 3rd area. Visual and performing arts, the 4th area, and I skipped over leadership, but leadership is the 5th area. These are all considered equal. One does not trump another one in the school system. So as school systems, we strive really hard to meet the needs of kids in those 5 areas. Pupil can be identified in one area or many, or some of the areas. They should be identified using multiple measures. So it can't just be like one IQ score or one WKCE score or one MAP score, if those are the kinds of scores that your district uses. It should be multiple measures. And by that, it could be a teacher recommendation. It could be a recommendation from you. It could be a kid walking in to me as a coordinator and saying, hey, Mrs. D, you know that stuff you're doing with kids right now in math? I think I could do that. I had a kid, a 5th grader actually do that to me last year. Hey, that logic stuff, my friend taught me that on the bus on the way to camp, and can I join your group now? And by George, he got it, and he was ready to go. So a self-referral. In the arts, it might be a portfolio. It might be a performance. It might be a collection of things that a child is doing. In leadership, sometimes the gym teacher is the person who says, you know that little Susie Q out there? She borders on bossy, but I'm seeing some real signs of leadership. And by the way, one of the jobs we need to do if we've got kids that are strong in leadership is to help them find that line between bossy and leader. Okay? And it usually has to do with helping them understand other people's feelings about leadership. Okay, so those 5 areas, multiple measures. The identification has to be responsive to factors such as economic conditions. Gifted kids cut across all economic strata, all races, all genders, obviously 2 of them, Native